to license it.
Meep, meep.
Hi everybody, and a warm welcome back to Maple Leaf Matchbox Makeovers. I'm Andrew, and on the bench today is a 1 to 36 scale Maisto Mini Cooper. This Mini is big. You can tell the difference just as I'm holding it in my hands, and even though it's still a compact car, in this scale it affords much more detail, and it's easier on my eyes too. It's a little scuffed up and play worn, but nothing that can't be restored and made over with a little bit of TLC today. Pour yourself a hot cup of coffee and stay tuned to see what I do. This is my entry into the first annual All-Canadian Diecast Build-Off. Any cast in any scale size, it just has to be done up, finally, in red and white, the colors of our flag. There's no particularly Canadian vehicle to, well, this one is, but you can choose anything. Hey, if you like this kind of video, give it a thumbs up and become a new subscriber to my channel. I've just laid out my whole summer lineup, and one of them is going to be a build-off with my friend Cole from Kuda's Custom Diecast. Hit the notification bell so you'll catch the release date on that and all the other cars and builds that I've got coming up in the summer of 2021. There are 3 screws holding this Maisto together, and it comes apart quite easily at that stage, but I did have a little bit of trouble removing the chassis from the plastic interior. Ultimately, it came out fine. And I use a little pin vise here and apply the slightest twist and a half to release these plastic molded headlights that are part of the front of the car and give a real sense of realism. There really are many more details in these 1 to 36 scale cars, and so I'll have fun adding a little bit of extra attention to those. But I make sure to put these micro parts of the Mini into a tiny plastic bag and everything into one basket so I don't lose anything. These projects are on my bench for about a week at a time, and well, I brush off the top of the bench and the vacuum cleaner comes out and the little parts tend to disappear. It's happened enough that I don't want it ever to happen again. So you have to have one of these to participate in today's build, and if you don't, I hope it'll be fun to watch anyways. And if you're not a Canadian, I've prepared this quiz to test your Canadian street cred. Post your answers in the comments below. I left the Mini in the paint stripper overnight, and as a result, it peels off like zombie skin. I love it when that happens. So everything is going tickety-boo, so far, as we say in Canada, and it's on to the very satisfying bare metal detail phase. The Mini Hatch, or the Mini Hardtop in the US, also known as the Mini Cooper, the Mini 1, or simply the Mini, is a 3-door or 5-door hatchback, first introduced in late 2000 by German automotive company BMW. The second generation was launched in 2006 and the third in 2014. A convertible version was introduced in 2004, with the second generation following in 2008. The Mini concept was originally unveiled at the Frankfurt International Motor Show in September 1997, whilst the Mini marque was still a part of the Rover Group, owned by BMW, where it was intended to replace both the classic Mini and the larger Metro 100 series. The Mini Hatch is a front-engine, front-wheel drive little bundle of fun. And it's cute too, wouldn't you agree? Are you a food connoisseur? Then you should, once in your life, have this special Canadian treat. If you know the name, put it in the comments. Giving everything a good brush up in basic hot soapy water, because in these COVID days, I don't know where it's been. It came from a eBay haul, I believe, with a lot of other cars in a 1:64 scale, so this is just a sanitary step, and while I'm in the soapy water, I give the windshield some special attention. Now here's a tip. There's a little bit of paint overspray on the rear glass, and I'll consider this to be an oversight by Maisto, but to rectify the problem, I'm using 50% fingernail polish remover and 50% water in a toothpick. And that together serves like a liquid eraser, and I was able to get a nice sharp edge back, and wherever there's a gap or a scratch in the paint, I discovered that was on the inside, and so my touch-up paint goes on the inside, and that's good. You won't see any brush strokes on the outside. And when it's all sanded down and painted, the windshield goes into Pledge floor polish. It's just a clear polish, and I'll cover that and let it sit at least overnight. I'm sticking with my own rules here in the red and white livery, and out comes the Tamiya spray can for some brilliant red. I start with a tack coat, I'll let that dry up, and then I'll come back and hit it a second time, and if necessary, a third time in a couple of spots. Make sure I get underneath in the wheel wells and everything. Unmasking time. Are you nervous? No need to be today. Careful preparation work results in a flawless, razor-sharp pair of pinstripes down the front hood. Looking good. And here's where the 1:36 scale cars are a little more fun. There's lots of room for detail, especially on the dashboard. So I'm going to give it some red leather steering wheel touches, and the tachometer and other dials have a red back face. And you can actually get at them and stay inside the lines here. And the sport bucket seats, which tilt front and back in this model, get a red leather interior. Just on the inside, the armrests and the back cushions and the headrest remain in black for some contrast. Once the red paint is set and dry, I take a fingernail painting tool that has a tiny round dot on it, and that's perfect. Just press it down and apply a dot of paint, and you get a perfect little circle. Here's my interior. See the reclining seats working? As I do some exterior detail, I can tell you that I'm proud to say Kingston, Ontario is my hometown in Canada. That's from the Great Lakes area. And I have called 7 different countries home at this point in my life. And I married an Austrian girl, and so we have been in Europe and currently Switzerland for many years now. And ultimately, I think retirement days will be spent in my wife's home country of Austria, which is a neighboring country. And where I live here, my friends don't believe me when I tell them that Canada has national parks that are bigger than Switzerland. It's true. I'm starting to put the car back together now, reassembly, a little bit at a time. Paint is dried up and set, of course, and it's already had one clear coat applied. And now I reinstall the plastic headlights, and I am putting clear red and clear orange over silver metallic paint that I put on the taillights and the side indicators. And once again, I'm giving thanks for a little bit bigger car. And it's starting to look good. Now, here's my liquid eraser trip again. I painted freehand with a brush this back bumper in white, and you just can't get it perfect. So again, half fingernail polish remover, half water, and by the time the toothpick gets a little bit soft on the end, you've got the perfect tool to gently, with finesse, not force, slowly and patiently remove any overpaint, and you're left with a razor-sharp line. The silver spokes are getting a white refurb as well to match the color rules. Okay, sports fans, who can go back as far as 1972 and answer this question? Minis are well known for having some kind of decor or motif on the roof, and for Canada Day, of course, I'm going with a Canadian maple leaf, and I mocked up a couple of different ideas with a little bit of abstract lines behind, and then ultimately decided that this one looked pretty good. So I've applied it on some white waterslide decal paper and put a little micro sole on top of that to lock it down. And here's your final Canadian quiz question. Which of these people is not Canadian? Take your time. Well, everything's ready to reassemble now, and there are a couple of extra bits involved in these larger scale cars. And I begin with some super glue gel to lock down the roof, which has already been fastened to the window frame assembly. And that goes in beautifully. I like that look. The clear coat lacquer really gives it that eternal wet look that is very special. So I'm pleased with the turnout so far. I have to be very careful now with the dashboard assembly because it's going to fit in next, and there's a couple of sort of ledges that it needs to fit in between. A little bit fiddly, but it goes in there okay. And there have been no scratches or problems so far. A little bit more super glue because the interior has a square post and the bottom of the dash fits in together. And I got a little super glue on my finger right there, so although the video editing makes it look instantaneous, I did clean that off. It's a pullback toy, and the gears are plastic, and it just needed a little bit of cleaning, and it works beautifully. And I'm happy to say that all of the little bits that I put in my tiny plastic bag have made it to the end of the project. Nothing has gone AWOL. And the last piece of the puzzle is the plastic chassis. Can you see that each of the 3 screws is a different length? I realized that when I took it apart initially, so they all go back into the correct place. I don't know why those 2 in the back are not the same. Pull back, release, zoom. It burns rubber. Let's have a closer look. I put a little extra bling on the front there. The side mirrors got painted white, as did the wheel hubs. Personalized license plate. Look, the inside of the door cards are painted black to match the black leather interior. All I did to the bottom was my channel logo. There wasn't a lot of detail there. And I'm most pleased with the Canadian maple leaf motif on the top. There it was in a metallic green initially. There were lots of scratches and things, mostly like it had just been rumbling around in a box. And I like the final result. It's proudly red and white, just like the flag.
Long may it wave and grace our own in stormy weather, within my heart, above my home, the maple leaf forever.
July 1st is Canada Day, and I wish you all a really good one, wherever you come from. Thanks for visiting today. Be sure to check out all the other builders. There's a link in the description for each one. It's coffee time.